Well, this is an Excel file, and as you can see in this particular Excel file there are three worksheets: sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and you can add like this. You can rename. Suppose if I want to make it test, do it. Or suppose if you want to hide, you can hide. Or if you want to delete, you can delete. Now say this is sheet 1 and this is a particular cell, so this cell. So as you can see here in this address bar, it is C4, which means it's an intersection of third column, that is C column, and the fourth row, so C4. So whenever you refer to this particular cell, the address has to be considered as C4. Now this is in sheet 1. Now suppose if you go to sheet 2 and you want to refer to the C4 cell of sheet 1, don't have to remember anything, just press equal to sign. For any such linking, equal to sign is imperative, so just remember you have to start with equal to sign. And if you have to fetch, if you have to call C4 cell of sheet 1, go to sheet 1 and click on C4 and then enter. Now what happens is 0. Why? Because the C4 of sheet 1 is a blank cell and Excel assumes a value of 0 in any blank cell. And you can see here it starts with sheet 1, then is a factorial sign. This is an expression for a particular worksheet, and C4 is the cell address. But if you call this particular cell in the same sheet, for example here, if you call this one C4, it will be just C4 because it is on the same Excel file and same worksheet. Now suppose I open another Excel file and let me name it as a test. Now if I want to link this particular cell, say D5 cell of test sheet 1, to the C4 cell of sheet 1 of my original file, that is Excel file, worksheet and cell. Now if I press here, you can see the whole path, and as I have explained earlier, it starts with the Excel file. You can see here this is the name of the Excel file within third bracket, followed by the sheet name, so worksheet name, so sheet 1, and then followed by the cell. And you can see here dollar signs. I'll discuss dollar signs later. These dollar signs are used to make it absolute referencing. I'll discuss absolute referencing and how does it differ from relative referencing later. Okay, so if I now enter, I have this. So this particular cell has been linked to the C4 cell of sheet 1 of Excel file worksheet. Now if I change the names, the sheet 1 instead of sheet 1, say if I make it say first document or something. Now fine, and now save. You can find that here Excel file, that was the name of the file, worksheet and cell, and this sheet 1 name has been automatically changed to first doc. So you don't have to change anything. If you have created a path and then if you change any name of either the file or the worksheet, it will automatically be reflected in the path. So that's the beauty of Excel. You don't have to remember anything. You just have to create that path. That's it. And another interesting thing is, if I now change this, instead of blank cell, if I change this to 6, this 6 has been reflected here because I have made a link here, and I think sheet 2 also I have made a link, so 6, and the other file, the test file, I made a link, so 6. So with just one change, the corresponding changes have been reflected in all other cells which have been linked to that particular cell. That's another very interesting feature of Excel. Now, when you talk about linking cell, one has to understand what do you mean by cell or what do you mean by the content of the cell. For example, here is 6, and here if I mention say 12 and say 2, and then if I put a small formula 12 by 2, this is also 6. Now you can see here 6 in both the cells, but do they convey the same meaning? Let's see. If we just copy this and if we just go for a paste, see here the values are not same. Why? Because these are linked. If I go back to the original one, this is the original one. Again, if I create some sort of formula, say this plus this, and let us make it say 4 and 2, so again 6. Now if I again copy and paste here, this is 6, fine, but this is 8. Wow, how? Because you can see here in this particular C4 cell the content is only 6. So when I copy paste, okay, I'm not using paste special. What is paste special I'll discuss later. I'm just using Ctrl C and Ctrl V. The 6 has been copied, but here this, although we can see here 6, but actually the cell does not contain the value 6. Rather the cell contains a formula. What is the formula? The formula goes by A5 plus B5, and A5, since A5 contains 4 and B5 contains 2, by this particular formula the value is coming as 6. That's the fundamental difference. In C4 is 6, C5 is 6, but in the first case it is just 6, but in the second case the 6 is actually the result of a formula. And if I make a change here, instead of 4, if I make it 5, it will be 7, but there will be no change in C4 because the C4 cell contains the numerical data. On the other hand, the C5 cell does not contain numerical data, rather it contains a formula, and 6 is a result of that formula. That's why when you are using copy paste, Ctrl C Ctrl V, there is no problem here because the content is 6 only, and when I copy 6 it is 6. But here when I'm copying and pasting, I shouldn't expect the value of 6 here, rather I should expect the copy of the formula. And here the formula is A5 plus B5 in C5 cell. So when I copy paste the same formula here in D5, it would be what? If it is C5, then A5 plus B5. So by that logic, when it is a D5, it should be B5 plus C5. And you can see here, that's why it's not coming as 6, rather it is coming as 2 plus 6, that is 8. But again, we can fix it, and for that we have to use absolute referencing or $sign, that we'll discuss later. So please keep this in mind, that in Excel we should start with the file, then worksheet, then cell, and when you are linking a cell you have to ensure what exactly are you linking. Are you linking a numerical data, or are you linking a formula, or linking something else? And depending on that you have to take appropriate measures. Okay, fine, see you then.